Jazz clubs around the world are sitting empty, but jazz musicians will always have great music and stories to share. And since jazz fans aren't able to get out to hear great music, we will deliver jazz to you at home. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with Tim Tamashiro. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with yours truly, Tim Tamashiro. I'm the host of this particular program, and we are literally at the tail end, one of our final 3 shows as part of the JazzYYC TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival, and we've been on the air for 26 days now, and altogether it's going to be 28. Boy, we're excited to have our friends here tonight, and our friends this evening are students for the most part. One is just wrapped up his studies in New York City, and one is just in the middle of studies. Here with us today is Gabriela Laconsay and Joel Antonin. Welcome, Gabriela.
Hello.
Very nice to see you. Thank you. I know you're broadcasting from your parents' home here in Calgary, so you've come home from Toronto just to kind of weather the storm, just to make sure you have somebody to hug when you need to, right?
Yes, exactly. And feed me.
And there's that part as well. Yeah, definitely. Joel Antonin, thank you very much for being on the show. You packed up and came in from New York because you're studying there, just wrapping up your master's degree. And the food must be way better.
Well, yes and no. I mean, like Gabriela, I'm staying with my family, so I do get my mom's cooking at home, and that's always nice.
Who's the better cook at your house, your mom or your dad?
Oh, it's hard to tell.
Oh, really? You're going into politics.
I can't go into that right now.
That was a dodge. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Indeed, your mom and dad. They're probably very proud of you to answer it that way. That's good to know.
I hope so.
So, Joel, I'm going to go off and talk with Gabriela here for the first portion of the show. Will you excuse us?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We got 1 and 2. There's the 2 of us. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
You're a student at Humber College at this point in time, but you were tasked to learn at Humber 17 jazz classics or jazz standards in preparation for this year. Why did you have to learn all those songs in this year? Tell us why.
So I just finished my second year. So in second year and first year, you have a jury where the faculty of your instrument will watch you, and they'll call one of the 17 tunes and also 3 of your own choice tunes. So you could choose any other 3 tunes. And it's just like a gig. You get it's supposed due to the whole Corona situation, everything. It was on Zoom, which was it was odd playing with tracks and for a jury of all these faculty, but it was pretty fun.
Jazz musicians have a device that we use on iPad or different devices. It's called iReal Pro, and basically that's what you use. So you can pull up the standards and you could play along with them. It's kind of like, how do you describe it? Kind of like jazz karaoke, right?
Yeah, jazz karaoke is a great way to describe it.
So you had these 17 tunes. You've been learning throughout the entire year on your upright bass. And when you were on your jury Zoom call, they just kind of picked one at random and said, play X, right?
Yeah. It had to be prepared, all of it, like melody, solo, walking. It was a great way to test our jazz skills and whatnot, you know?
Is it freaky to do those juries? Is that kind of the most stressful time of the year for you?
Personally, it was. I think that was what I was really cramming for the most during finals was my jury. That's what I wanting to impress my professors, give a good impression, show them that I can play my tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you received your mark for your performance?
Yeah, I did. I'm pretty happy with it. For a lot of my critiques were your internet connection was a little shoddy, so I wasn't really sure.
Oh, you can't be docked points for that.
I don't think I was, but it was nice to know that was a main focus, was that my internet was bad and not that like
That
my
you're-
time feel was weird or something. So I'm happy with that critique.
Yeah, you in preparation for today's spot on Jazz Home Delivery, you recorded the song that you really wanted to play as part of your jury. What is this
Yeah.
song?
It's How Insensitive, a Joe Beam tune. Yeah. One of my favorite like Latin tunes now. And like really got into it because of my jury, and I was really excited. I was hoping they would call it, and they didn't call it. So I thought this is a great time to play it.
Well, you're not being juried right now, just so you know. This is
God.
absolutely this is us saying you pass no matter what. Just
That's
so
good
you
to know.
What is it about this song that's so delicious for you to play?
I don't know. I just really like the melody and just the I don't know. I like playing with the bow too. Just like so that was it fit really nicely on the bass. So I just was really excited to play it, and I just really loved shedding it. So I was like, oh, I'm ready. I want to play this tune.
You're ready. You want to jump right into it. I want to play it
Yeah.
for everybody because you're playing bass twice on this.
Yes.
One upright bass, and then you're playing arco, like with bow,
Yeah.
right? And then you're also playing guitar. Is that something that
Yeah.
you've always played, is guitar, or you picked that up in school?
I started on guitar actually. I studied classical guitar when I was younger, and
Nice.
right when I was like starting playing upright bass, and then eventually I just really loved playing in an ensemble, so I like ended up moving over to stand-up bass being my focus. So I still maintain some guitar chops. Wanted to play some chords.
You can never go wrong with
myself.
learning another instrument, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're going to play this song right now for everybody.
Sounds good.
Gabriela Laconsay, I should say,
Yes, Laconsay.
is here as part of the JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days. It's the virtual festival, and she's recorded this number for us now that she was supposed to play at her jury but didn't
Yes.
get a chance. But you get it now. Here you go.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Gabi. Now you finally got it. You finally got how insensitive out of the way. How insensitive was it that they didn't choose that one?
So insensitive.
I had to throw in a dad joke while I can.
Of course.
This is what I do. I throw in dad jokes. Thank you very much for that. Did you edit that video yourself?
Yeah, I did.
You've become a video editor now, too.
Yes, exactly.
This is what we have to do in the world of COVID, is that we all have to become video editors so that we can get our music out. So
acquire new skills.
You did a great job. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
As you pointed out, this is your second year of studies, and your first year was at North Texas, University of North Texas, and that is a big school compared to Humber.
Quite a big
How many
school.
bass students were there again?
I think with including the classical kids, there were a good amount, maybe like 40 is my guess. Like 20 like jazz bassists is already a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But during our like master classes, we would all be in like a big circle in like a giant room and just play, and it was crazy. It sounded like a bunch of bees. It was
So everybody gathered into one circle at a master class. Everybody has their upright basses. That's a lot of lumber. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That is
Crazy.
really something. Holy cow. So, and then everybody would play at the exact same time, or in master classes, do you kind of take your own, does everybody just get a turn or something?
So at the beginning of the year, we would do technique classes. So we were all playing at the same time, the same thing. And then like partway through the class, and we start watching people play go one at a time, like 3-hour master classes, just watching everyone go through their piece.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm so glad that you chose to come back up to Canada, because Humber is such a renowned college, actually, of music, and you get some of the best instructors anywhere in the world. Mike Downs is on that, one of your teachers. Who else is teaching you bass out there?
Neil Swainson was my private lesson teacher. Yeah. It was so great to study with him. He's such a legend. Just like listening to him play, even in my lessons, like nonetheless get to learn from him. It was crazy.
You're very fortunate to be able to have those two gentlemen as teachers, if nothing else. So now, but you're scheduled to go into year 3 at Humber as well. But you got a big decision to make, right?
Yeah.
This is, it wouldn't be easy to go and to do a third year, especially if the only way that they can do it is online. What's your feeling about this?
I don't know. I'm pretty anxious about it right now. Just like third year's my recital year. So that's when you put on your show, you hire all your friends, you rehearse them. You can't really do that online. So if everything's going to be online, I guess I'm thinking of deferring and then really getting the experience when I can. It's, I don't know, fingers crossed that I'll be able to do it.
It is an unprecedented time, right? And when you think about deferment and the fact that you could, in theory, maybe be practicing around here and even doing some more gigs and kind of getting some professional experience in your deferment year, or maybe even studying something else online. That who knows, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough decision for anybody to make, let alone
for sure.
somebody who relies on having other people in the room when you do a show. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I sure hope that it's going to be an easy decision for you when the time comes to make the decision, because you really have a little bit of time on this yet.
Yeah, I've been like looking for a place with my friends too, because we plan on moving out of the dorms and finding so now we have to like put that on hold to make sure that the school is going on. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, really.
We're all in limbo.
Yeah.
And
we all
yourself
are.
included. So there are no wrong decisions.
Yes, exactly. I know that.
I promise there are no wrong decisions. So you have made another video for us, and thank you very much for doing that.
Yes.
And you have invited a special guest.
Yes, very special guest.
This video with you that just happens to live in the same house as you.
Yes, same room even. Yeah.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
This works out so good. Tell me about this dream, a little dream of me. Why did you choose to do this, and why did you invite your young sister, Erica.
Yes. My little sister Erica, she was a part of a youth choir in Calgary before, and she just is a great singer. She loves singing with her friends, and she's never really sang a jazz tune, but I thought this would be a great time to debut, like a jazz debut, see her and like a live performance, and like get her to sing a song with me. Like I always hear her singing in her room to herself. So I'm like, why not share that, record it, share it with your friends, share it with everyone.
This is the big sister pushing the little sister out of her comfort zone a little bit. But
yes, of course.
But it's so much fun that you invited her to be a part of it. And now she's going to have her debut on our show as well. So you both get a debut on the show. And
yes,
I'm thinking this could be like the start of the Laconsay sister extravaganza.
Yeah,
right?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yes. A couple of Beyonces. Oh, this is really special to invite her in. So here we go. We're going to do this song now, and I'm going to take off and just by telling everybody that this is all part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. The Laconsay sisters together. This is Gabriela and Erica Laconsay with Dream a Little Dream.
Shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars faded, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. Till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, wherever they be, dream a little dream of me. that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, wherever they be, dream a little dream
There we go. Gabriela and Erica Laconsay. That was so awesome that you invited her to be a part of that.
Of course, more like convinced her.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, when you first broached the subject with her, did she go, "Are you crazy?"
A little bit, but
Yeah.
she got excited when I told her that I was willing to pay her, and it'd be a good time to like
Cold, hard cash.
get her out. Yeah, exactly.
There's
Get out
nothing better
there
than a
and
little
sing.
cold, hard cash incentive, right, Gabi?
Yeah, exactly.
I've enjoyed talking with you very, very much, but we have
Me
our
as
friend
well.
Joel who's sitting in the next room. I'm just going to zip over and talk to him for a little bit. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, of course I am.
I've yet to have anybody go, "No, stay right here with me." Thanks so much for being on the show, Gabi.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Where's Joel? Oh, there he is. There's the two of us, just the two of us. Joel Antonin, guitarist from right here in Calgary. I think your mute button is on, Joel. Do you have a mute button on?
Yes, I think I fixed it.
You fixed it. It's all good. I've done that 18 times out of 28 shows, so
Oh, wow.
I'm extremely good at it, I would say.
Well, I guess I'm getting good at it.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here with us. You're back in Calgary here now, just fleeing the insanity in New York City. Did you live right in the city?
Yes, actually. I lived in Manhattan, not too far from Central Park this year.
Oh, man.
But it was a busy area compared to last year. I lived kind of out in the nether regions of Brooklyn. So this year it was a little bit tighter in, and yeah, it's a bit crowded. So it's good to get out.
What a beautiful part of the city to live in, though. I mean, you literally have everything. That's the busiest part of the city, though, too. Did it drive you a little nuts?
It's a great part of the city to live, except when your apartment is on the ground level of the building.
Oh,
Then it's noisy.
definitely.
Anyone moving to New York, avoid ground level.
Yeah, you got to get up in the sky away from, then you can only hear helicopters and planes, right?
Yes, I look up to the top of those 60-story towers, and I'm partly jealous, but I'm pretty happy to be where I am too. So
I love that you came back to Calgary, and today when I called you on the phone just to have a little chat before the show, you were delivering thank you signs. Thank you signs to front line healthcare workers. What a nice thing.
Yes, my fiance Bronwyn Schumann, her brother Philip Schumann, and his wife started a campaign to thank Alberta healthcare workers, and of course they have orders from all over the province. With I believe proceeds for ordering the signs go to your local food bank. So
that's awesome.
So it's a pleasure for me to help out and drive around, and it's also nice to get out of the house and do something rather than sit in front of the screen all day or whatever.
Well, you have to give it a plug. Well, how do I get a sign? Because I'm going to order one.
So you can go to www.thankabhealth.ca.
Thankabhealth.com.
Yes, .ca, I think.
.ca. Thankabhealth.ca, and you can get one of those signs delivered so you can put it on your front lawn. I'm going to do that right after the show.
Yes, great. Well, who knows who will be delivering it to your house. So.
I'll see Joel pulling up in his UPS truck.
Yes. No, it'll be in my Jetta. If
in
you
your
see a
Jetta, which is even better.
Jetta pull up in front of your house, you can expect it's me.
So, as you were saying, you're living in Manhattan during the COVID. It hit, and then what transpired to get you back here to Calgary?
Well, of course, similar situation to Gabi, I'm sure, but school sort of closed down. Everything went online. So I didn't really need to be there. And especially since it's crowded New York, I really didn't need to be there. And also everyone was moving out of residence and stuff. So with my fiance, Bronwyn, who studies at Juilliard currently, we kind of were, of course, asked to go. So we looked into plane tickets and basically we left the next day. And this was before kind of everything got a little bit crazy. So we avoided it.
Well, thank goodness that you made that decision and you came back to Calgary, because I'll bet you it's a lot. Your mind was probably more at ease once you actually just landed here.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. And it's nicer. It's nicer to be home with family and staying inside than on your own in a cramped little apartment. So
Yeah, for sure.
although I do have a really great roommate, so
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
yeah.
Put another plug. Website?
Yes, yes. He's he'll end up being a sound engineer or a sound designer at some point. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you started your post-secondary education here at Ambrose University in Calgary, and you were telling me that it was almost like a bit of a surprise and a benefit that you were transferred from Mount Royal over to Ambrose, because you kind of learned some things at Ambrose that you didn't expect. Tell me about those.
Yeah, well, I was accepted to Mount Royal, but it turned out that was going to be the last year of the program. So my first year was their first year of having no program. And at the time I was studying with guitarist Ralph Bushmeyer. And he said, why don't you come to Ambrose? And I thought, well, okay. So I went, and at the time they didn't really have much of a jazz program at all. But they had quite a large influx of students. Well, I wouldn't say large. It's a small program, which actually was great for me. But a lot of jazz musicians and jazz students ended up going there. So, of course, they took advantage of that, and they started a few extra classes, started some extra ensembles for us. And, the nice thing, the thing that was really great about it, and you mentioned unexpected, was of course, it wasn't a pure jazz program like Mount Royal, where you'd be practicing, playing all day long, and learning jazz standards and stuff. While I did do that at Ambrose all the time, with all of the extra academic focus, I was able to get a ton of new sort of information, exposed to music I probably wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise. I took a lot more music theory classes than I had expected, music history classes, and also non-music classes. I ended up taking, philosophy, aesthetics, sociology, psychology, and it was all really great. And, I'm a strong believer now of the idea of a musician or anyone who's trying to be creative to sort of not only branch outside of jazz and really look at, new things, but even outside of music.
Yeah. Explore all sorts of different things in order to be able to shape your own path and whatnot. That's I'm so glad that you had that, because it really shaped, as you said, it really kind of shaped your further studies once you got to NYU.
Yes, hugely. And even the studies at NYU, and even just the types of shows I'd go see in New York. I mean, with some of the stuff I was exposed to and became interested in at Ambrose, classical music, contemporary classical music. And I'd say especially those two things, since it was more of a classical program.
Yeah.
But I probably now listen to so much more music than I would have probably found or known otherwise. And since then, it's really been, I think it's guided my approach in a much different way than if I had just been in a purely jazz education. So at NYU, as you brought up, while it's a jazz program, I didn't have to take any courses outside of jazz, although I did take a couple. The types of things that I would sort of go to in composition projects or in collaborations with fellow students, or even outside of the school, out in the city, sort of,
cracked open your brain,
but also was totally part of it. In addition, so.
Oh man, and what a great place to have that experience too, in New York City, where you can virtually have any of those experiences out on the scene any given night of the year, right?
Oh yes, of course. And it's really actually at first, and I would still say, I've always said the weird thing isn't going out and seeing some of like your idols playing. The weird thing is that you can go out every night and it becomes normal seeing all of these amazing people play. It is weird at first, and it still is.
Wow, what a rich experience.
Yeah.
That's so great. Now you've made a couple of videos for us as well, right there in that room you're sitting in, and the first one that I'd like to play is "Alone Together," which is a kind of a cheeky nod. Tell us why you chose this particular song.
I don't know why was thinking about it in the first place, but I thought, we're all sort of watching this live stream alone, but we're also kind of all watching it together. And that's kind of been the experience most people have had for the last couple of months, and it's definitely been mine.
You just totally made it make sense right there and then. I don't even need to hear
I had
anymore.
to do something with the song, so
that makes the most sense of anything. So I'm going to play the song right now, if that's okay. Joel Antonin is here, a guitarist from Calgary here, but just earned his master's degree at NYU in the States, and we're very happy to play this version of "Alone Together." There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Joel Antonin, with his version of "Alone Together" that we are watching alone, but we're together.
Exactly. Yes. It's nice to be able to share music with real people. After so long, even if virtual. So
even if it's virtual, it's all good. Yes. As long as we're sharing music, that's all that matters, right?
Exactly.
Trust me, you're bringing a lot to people's well-being right now just by playing music.
I'm glad. Well, thanks, Tim.
So congratulations on your master's degree. That's a lot of work.
Thank you. Yes, it is a lot of work, lots involved. So
Yeah, lots involved. Not only playing, but you also had to write a thesis, and your thesis, as you were telling me, has to do with the music of John Coltrane late in his career. Now, how do you describe this thesis to regular people like me? Is it possible?
okay, yes, it's possible.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's very simple. It's long, but it's very simple. The idea is he's John Coltrane. He's such a popular musician, and I don't think anyone can go through a jazz education, whether formal or informal, without encountering Coltrane in some way.
Yeah.
And often, probably more often than not, musicians will get to Coltrane's late music. Post A Love Supreme, which was recorded in 1964, people will get up to there. And what happens after that, the change that his music undergoes, can sometimes, in some ways, steer people away who are used to sort of the traditional bebop, hard bop jazz sound.
Yeah.
Now, going back to some of what I was talking about earlier with Ambrose, I not only became open to some of these different sounds that sounded different to me at the time, but grew to love them. And something about his music post A Love Supreme and post A Love Supreme, just what happens to it, it's always been interesting to me, and I've never really had the time to sort of go through it in great detail. And so I basically took my master's thesis as an opportunity to do that.
Oh, that's perfect.
And prior to writing the big paper, I had read about his music, and in addition to listening to it, of course, but a lot of the approach that musicologists take and theorists is a highly analytical one. It's very technical. They go through and they'll label every pitch and say how it relates to all the other pitches in the phrase and to the larger structure of the piece. And it's very useful. And it's exactly what needs to be looked at, I think, in the music, because it showcases John Coltrane's basically utter genius.
Yeah.
Yes, like completely genius. And nobody has ever played what he's played on the saxophone or anything else in the way he has. And the technical approach, it's part of it. Now, some research into his music has kind of taken a more sort of spiritual angle, and a lot of it because that was an important part.
Yeah.
Now, basically, my thesis was to add to the previous interpretations of his music by suggesting that while the technical analytical approach is extremely useful and it unveils a lot to us, and the spiritual approach is extremely important in his life and what he talks about in his writing and speaking, it was important for me anyway, in approaching the music, to link those two things together in a way that was that made it more real for myself when I was listening to it. And how I approach the music is, or how I hear it anyway, is if you go back to some of his music in the late 50s, like with the album Black Pearls or anything sort of after Blue Train, his playing takes like this total dive into extremely like extravagant playing, like just notes everywhere, playing so fast, playing all over the instrument. And it's rather than sort of a traditional maybe bebop approach of, playing lines and playing harmony, which was all going on anyway. Yeah. Coltrane takes sort of all of these things and sort of smears them into color all over the place. Yeah. And so the idea behind my research was to really dive in and see how this music can be listened to less in terms of sort of traditional melody and phrasing and stuff, and really purely in terms of color and sound color. And the main argument I make is that based on his spiritual leanings and his spiritual writings, that this, for him anyway, was the purpose of the music, to dive into sound and the sound of his saxophone. And of course, how we hear it as listeners, rather than a purely structural, melodic sort of interpretation of the music.
Yeah.
And, that came from probably a lot of listening to music happening around the same time as Coltrane too.
Sure. But he was a deep thinker though as well, and he really looked at music from every possible angle. I would interject, and I brought up the fact that maybe his music was a little bit more like a Jackson Pollock painting than what most people would understand as a painting sort of thing. It's super duper complex, but at the same time, washes and sheets of sound, as you indicated, bold brush strokes, lines, all sorts of interesting things happening in ways that we are just not used to. His brain was just that complex.
Exactly, and you listen to you can take Miles Davis's music, for instance, and listen to his phrasing in his solos. And if you think of Miles Davis's playing as a painting, you would see maybe lines, maybe more delicate colors. There'd be lots of space on the canvas. You would see the shape very clearly and elegantly. But with Coltrane, in a no less elegant way, mind you, the whole canvas is covered with really deep, bright, extremely rich, and what's the word?
Vivid,
I don't
maybe.
know. Yeah, vivid color.
Yeah.
And huge, broad brush strokes, and almost overwhelming. And a Miles Davis painting might be this big, but if Coltrane were a painter, his paintings would be like this big.
Yeah, and they'd be covered. Every single inch of it would be covered, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
To me, anyway, that's how it sounds.
That's fascinating. How did you do on your paper?
I did very well.
Yeah. How was your defense a big weight off your back?
It was the format's a little bit different at NYU. It was more of a presentation than a defense. So I wouldn't say I was grilled, but yeah.
Good job. Well, I'm excited to play this song that you have. It's "Facing Paradise," because my gut tells me that you might have been exploring some of these ideas from your Coltrane fascination in this particular piece, because it is nonlinear, isn't it?
Definitely, partly. I think talking about Coltrane and sort of the Eastern influence in his music and a lot of other musicians and composers in the '60s, it was like a rhythmic revolution in jazz and in other Western music in the '60s. And now, it's so common to hear, different time signatures or different sounds, different scales, and so on. So yes, definitely a bit of Eastern influence here.
This is a really special piece, and it's called "Facing Paradise." What did you call it, "Facing Paradise"?
Well, so in my spare time, I sing. I sing in the St. Nicholas Antiochian Orthodox Choir in Brooklyn, which is a Byzantine music choir out of St. Nicholas Antiochian Orthodox Cathedral.
Yeah.
And to sort of immerse myself in the music and learn as much as possible, mainly just out of coincidence, I happen to just love it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I, along with another guy in the church, take lessons with a chanter in Brooklyn, a Greek chanter. And so studying Byzantine music and singing in the choir, a lot of these melodies and sounds have begun to seep their way into my brain, I'd say. So I couldn't
had to get them
help
out.
Yes.
You wanted to get them out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, this is a special piece of music. So I'm going to play it right now for everybody. Joel Antonin is here as part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days, the virtual festival. We're on day 25 or something like that. But we're very excited to have you as part of it. Here's his song, his composition called "Facing Paradise." Joel Antonin playing his song Facing Paradise on that beautiful guitar that was made by a luthier here in Calgary. That is especially beautiful. Holy cow. What's the luthier's name?
His name is Sota Mori. He's an extremely talented luthier in the city and good friend. He made the guitar a couple of years ago and was kind enough to let me play it. And it's a beautiful instrument. I've a lot of people have asked about it, including some really extremely great guitar players in New York who have actually played the guitar.
Oh, nice.
And everyone loves it. It's a beautiful instrument, Sota Mori. You can go on his website. He has a lot of really, really, really great work.
That's great. And I wanted to point out again, I made a little thing on the bottom here that if anybody wants to thank the frontline healthcare workers, you can go to www.thankabhealth.ca and you can order yourself a frontline thank you sign for your front lawn. So thank you so much for telling us about that. Joel, you did a wonderful job. I'm going to bring Gabi back in here. And there's the three of us in the room all together. I'm just so happy that you could both be on the show with us today.
Well, thanks for having us, Tim.
Yeah,
it's such a pleasure.
It's a real treat to hear what your exploration at school has done for you. And now, I guess it's just you're just in the holding pattern with everybody else. But Joel, you might get a chance to head back to the city to maybe play for a year afterwards, right?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, that'll be good. And Gabriela, you life is still just kind of in limbo right now, but I'm praying for you. I'm sending every little miracle that I can dig up your way to, figure out something that's going to be really, really challenging and worthwhile for you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. We have some special people to say thank you to. This support or this festival wouldn't be able to happen without the support of many wonderful people. So I'm going to go and say thank you to them. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education, Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, Arts Commons, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.